I'm 29 and here's what I wish I knew in my 20s. I'm Hannah and I help you thrive in your nonlinear career in life, whether you're not sure what to do next, thinking about grad school, starting a side hustle, or just getting started in your career path. This is my career and life advice for anyone in their early 20s. As someone who switched jobs 5 times and lived in 3 countries in my 20s, I worked in investment banking, then tech, and then went to business school. I also lived in Asia, Latin America, and the US. Number 1, pick the job or do the thing that keeps the most number of doors open. Let me give you an example. If you're a business major and not sure what to do next, the reason so many people go into consulting or banking is because it keeps a ton of doors open. From those jobs, you can exit into a ton of different industries, whether it's another job in finance, tech, real estate, the list goes on. But on the other hand, if you're debating between being a consultant or going to med school, if you choose to be a consultant, the door to going to med school is probably going to close, or it's going to be very hard to open that door back up. It is much easier to drop out of med school and become a consultant than go the other way around. Trust me, there are a ton of people I know from my MBA who went to med school or already finished med school and then got their MBA in order to become a consultant. But if you want to go the other way around, you have to do so many more classes, you have to take the MCAT, there's just a ton of stuff there. You're much better off trying that path from the first place rather than pivoting later on. Number 2, study abroad. I was planning to study abroad my junior year, but then ended up getting in my head about finance recruiting and deciding to do a double major instead of going to Europe. Did I really need that double major to work in investment banking? No. Do I wish in hindsight that I got to go to Europe and drink legally and backpack around with my friends? Hell yes. I actually had so much FOMO from not studying abroad that I ended up doing an adult study abroad when I decided to work in finance in Hong Kong and then in a startup in Mexico. So I had to scratch that itch somehow. If you can do it with study abroad, it's probably the least and maybe most chaotic way of doing it. Number 3, people in their 30s and 40s are not smarter than you, especially at work. They've just been doing it for way longer. When I first started my sales and trading job at Morgan Stanley, I was working with a bunch of stockbrokers in their 30s and 40s, and I felt like everyone was so smart because they could list the tickers and know the exact histories of like hundreds of stocks. And I thought that until I realized one day that the MD who sat next to me, who was in her late 40s, had been working in that job since the year I was born. So she'd been there for over 20 years. And I realized that if I had done that job for 20 years, I would probably be as good, if not better. Now that I'm in my late 20s, this is way more obvious to me in the workplace because it's so much easier to talk at meetings, to sound smart using corporate jargon, just because I've been doing it longer. So just fake it till you make it. And once you kind of see through the smoke and mirrors, it all becomes a lot less scary. Number 4, don't spend all of your time with your boyfriend, girlfriend, situationship, partner, whatever. I was with my college ex my sophomore, junior, and senior year. We spent way too much time together and I really lost myself. Go out and make friends, join clubs, experience things. It took me a really long time to learn how to be myself in a relationship because I had spent so much time being codependent with my college ex. By all means, like, date, have fun, and get to know other people, but be careful about getting into something long-term and serious until you really know who you are or you really know that that person is someone you can grow with. I have probably 10 close friends from college and not a single one of them is with their ex from college. And this advice is specifically for your early 20s. As you get older, at my age, in your 30s, you should be spending more time and prioritizing spending time with your partner because that's someone you know you're going to grow with, you're aligned on your goals, and you're going to build a life together. So if you're worried about moving to different cities and doing long distance after college, you probably don't want to hear this, but just break up. If you're right for each other, you'll find your way back. Number 5, you will probably hate your first job. Here's why and what you're gonna do about it. This happens because most of us know nothing about the types of corporate jobs that we go into after college. Especially if you're from an immigrant family like me or you're a first-gen professional, nobody you know has been a lawyer, an investment banker, a consultant. So you have no idea what the reality of those jobs are. We have these ideas of dream jobs because we watched Suits and wanted to become a lawyer or watch Industry and wanted to become a banker. And once those rose-colored glasses come off, you see everything that's wrong with that job. From the outside, we see something that's shiny and not real, especially when all the recruiters come on campus and show us how great it is and wine and dine you. But it's okay. When you realize that your first job out of college, that dream job isn't for you, that's when the true magic happens because dream jobs are fake. What's better than a dream job is something that is aligned with your interests and talents and someplace you're going to be able to learn and grow. We can talk more about how to find that next role, but this is just part of life. It's not going to happen to everyone, but it most likely will happen to you at some point. But you know that first job you hate? That's where you're going to make some of your closest friends because you both hate that job and you're going to help each other navigate the next step. Number 6, overschedule yourself, you will never have this much energy again, and you're gonna regret the things that you don't do more than the ones you did do. Like, yes, obviously take care of your mental health first if you're struggling, but looking back on college, I wish I did more so I could learn more, so I can grow more, so I could experience more of the world and figure out what I really liked. This goes back to the dream job point, but we have so many ideas in our heads about what we like and what we're passionate about, but until you do it, you don't really know. Looking back now, I am always so inspired by people who are 19, 20, 21 and going to college, triple majoring in something, doing a hobby or a side hustle on the side, because I wish I could go back in time and do that. This is probably the number one thing. Number 7, take the GRE or GMAT if you can. This probably applies more if you are studying business, but might be good advice for everyone. Trust me, you are in your prime test taking years now. If you're thinking about getting a master's or an MBA or going back to school in any way, shape, or form down the line, getting this done is going to save you so many headaches down the line. This is going to save you so many headaches. This is a very specific piece of advice, but I wish I could go back in time and do it. The last one, and maybe the most important one, because younger me really needed to hear this, just accept that you're not going to be friends with everyone. I spent so much of my early 20s trying to get people to like me, especially because I moved to new countries where I had no friends, and I felt like I had to adjust who I was in order to fit in, to vibe with people, and to find a group and a community. I think that all comes from a good place, but looking back, I really wish I hadn't done that. What I would have done is really realize that connections and communities and friendships take time to build. The groups you fall into immediately because you're looking for friends and trying to make yourself fit in a certain way aren't the ones that are gonna last. So give yourself time and patience. If you move to a new city or you're reestablish your friend group after college, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna find your people, and trust me, they're not gonna ask you to be any different than who you are. And if it's just a few people, that is okay. So let me know your favorite tip down below. I share advice and tips weekly on how to thrive in your nonlinear career and life, so be sure to like and subscribe.